Ladies and gentlemen, stop doubting yourself. Nothing kills a dream quicker than the voice inside saying, I can't stop entertaining that voice. Every time you doubt yourself, remember you've made it this far and you're still standing. You have more strength than you know. Stop waiting for the perfect time. There's no perfect moment. Life isn't going to hand you a golden ticket. Start where you are with what you have and watch the magic unfold. Stop making excuses. Excuses will always be there. Success won't. You can find a reason to stay where you are or a way to move forward. Make the choice that'll take you higher. Stop holding grudges. Holding on to anger doesn't hurt anyone else, it hurts you. Let go, forgive, and watch how freeing it is when you release that weight. Stop fearing failure. Every failure holds a lesson. Every setback is a setup for a comeback. Instead of fearing failure, use it to your advantage. It's only a failure if you don't learn from it. Stop comparing yourself to others. Comparison is the thief of joy. You're not in their race, you're in yours. Run it with focus, with passion, with determination. Stop surrounding yourself with negative people. You become like the people you spend the most time with. Surround yourself with those who lift you up, who push you to be better, not those who keep you in a cycle of negativity. Stop complaining. Wait. Complaints are wasted energy. Instead, take that energy and turn it into action. You're either part of the solution or part of the problem. Choose wisely. Stop trying to please everyone. The moment you let go of the need for validation, you gain true freedom. Focus on your mission, your goals, and let the opinions fall where they may. Stop holding on to past mistakes. The past can teach you, but it doesn't define you. Learn the lesson, then let it go. You can't drive forward while looking in the rearview mirror. Stop focusing on what you don't have. Appreciate what you have and use it as a foundation to build more. Gratitude opens doors that complaints keep closed. Stop saying yes to everything. Your time and energy are precious. Say yes to what aligns with your goals and no to anything that distracts you from them. Stop neglecting your health. Your body is the only place you have to live. Take care of it. Eat well, rest, and move. Success means nothing if you're too worn down to enjoy it. Stop living in fear of judgment. People will always have opinions. That's their business, not yours. Live your truth boldly, and let your actions speak louder than their words. Stop doubting yourself. Self-doubt is an insidious thing. It creeps in slowly, often disguised as caution, humility, or even pragmatism. But unchecked, self-doubt can become the invisible barrier keeping you from reaching your true potential. It clouds your vision, convincing you that you're not capable, that you're not worthy, that maybe you don't deserve success as much as someone else does. What you must realize is that self-doubt is rarely rooted in fact. It's built on fear, insecurities, and past failures. It clings to the mistakes you've made and the moments you've stumbled, magnifying them in your mind until they seem like undeniable proof that you're not enough. But you have to push past it, because self-doubt is a thief. It steals your focus, your energy, and most importantly, your confidence. Self-doubt often arises when you step outside your comfort zone. The moment you try something new or challenging, there it is, whispering reasons to turn back, to play it safe, to stay within familiar limits. But comfort zones don't foster growth, they stagnate it. Staying comfortable may feel safe, but it keeps you in a holding pattern where your strengths and talents lie dormant. Realize that every person you admire, every person who's achieved something great, once stood in the same place you're standing now, facing the discomfort of the unknown, battling that voice of doubt. The difference? They didn't let it stop them. They pressed forward despite it, recognizing that self-doubt is only as powerful as you allow it to be. A big part of overcoming self-doubt is learning to trust your own voice above the noise. We live in a world filled with opinions. Everyone has something to say about what you should or shouldn't do, how you should live. what's realistic, what's practical. And sometimes self-doubt isn't even coming from within. It's the product of those outside voices echoing in your mind, telling you what's possible for someone like you. But only you can determine what you're capable of. When you doubt yourself, you're giving power to the opinions and expectations of others, even if they're unspoken. Trusting yourself means giving yourself permission to believe in your potential without needing anyone else's approval or validation. Self-doubt also feeds on perfectionism. Many people hesitate to act because they're waiting for the perfect time, or they feel they need to be flawlessly prepared before they begin. But waiting for perfection is just a delay tactic. The reality is, you'll never have all the answers, and you don't need them to start. Progress is about taking one step, learning from it, and then taking another. Waiting for the ideal moment or the perfect circumstances keeps you from moving forward. Remember, you don't have to be perfect to make an impact, you just have to begin. Action builds momentum, and momentum builds confidence. The more you do, the more you see what you're capable of, and the quieter that inner critic becomes. Self-doubt feeds on inaction. The longer you hesitate, the more power you give it. But every time you take a step, no matter how small, you're proving to yourself that you're capable. Each achievement, each bit of progress serves as evidence that you have what it takes. And this evidence becomes the foundation of your confidence. Embrace failure as part of the process. One of the most damaging effects of self-doubt is that it makes you afraid to fail. But failure isn't the opposite of success, it's a part of it. Every setback, every misstep is a lesson, a stepping stone. If you view failure as an indictment of your worth or abilities, you're giving self-doubt free rein. But if you view it as a necessary part of growth, as just one step in the journey, it loses its power. Remember, some of the most successful people in history experienced countless failures, but they didn't let those failures define them. They learned from them, adapted, and moved forward. Self-doubt can grow in isolation, but it struggles to survive in a supportive environment. Seek out people who believe in you, who encourage you to take risks, who remind you of your strengths when you forget them. Having a network of positive influences can act as a buffer against self-doubt. When you're surrounded by people who see the best in you, it becomes easier to see the best in yourself. Stop wasting time on unproductive habits. Time is our most precious asset, but it's often spent on activities that add little to no value to our lives. Every day, there are distractions waiting to pull you off course: social media, television, unnecessary online shopping, and mindless browsing. These activities are often comforting and easy, providing quick gratification. But what you may not realize is that each moment spent in unproductive habits is a moment lost to achieving something greater, something that could move you closer to your goals. Breaking free from these habits isn't about being overly strict or denying yourself relaxation. It's about recognizing where your time is going and deciding to invest it more wisely. When you engage in unproductive habits, you may feel busy, but there's a difference between being busy and being productive. Unproductive habits create the illusion of activity without actually moving you forward. You might feel like you're doing something, but hours pass and nothing significant gets done. The brain loves the satisfaction of completing small, easy tasks, even if they don't contribute to your long-term goals. But this kind of busyness can make you feel exhausted and stressed, as if you're working hard without making any progress. When you replace these empty activities with purposeful ones, you channel your energy into things that genuinely build you up, that leave you with a sense of accomplishment instead of emptiness. Social media, email, and entertainment apps are designed to capture your attention, and they're incredibly effective at it. Each notification, each update can pull you into a rabbit hole where minutes quickly turn into hours. Before you know it, half your day is gone, and you're left wondering where the time went. Part of taking back control over your time means recognizing the power these distractions have over you and setting boundaries around them. Consider setting specific times for checking emails and social media rather than letting them interrupt you throughout the day. Small changes like this can create space for you to focus on what truly matters. Procrastination is another unproductive habit that drains your time. When you put off tasks, especially difficult or challenging ones, you're not freeing up time, you're just delaying the inevitable. Procrastination leads to stress as deadlines approach, and often you'll end up rushing to complete tasks with less care than they deserve. By tackling tasks when they come up, rather than putting them off, you can alleviate a lot of unnecessary pressure. Plus, getting things done promptly builds momentum. The sense of accomplishment from completing one task motivates you to take on the next, creating a positive cycle that fuels productivity. Multitasking can feel productive, but studies show that our brains aren't designed to handle multiple tasks effectively at once. When you multitask, you're not giving any one task your full attention, which leads to mistakes and a longer completion time overall. Instead of juggling many things at once, focus on doing one task well before moving on to the next. This approach not only improves the quality of your work, but also reduces stress, as you're not constantly switching between tasks. By dedicating your time to one thing at a time, you're able to complete tasks more efficiently and with greater satisfaction. It's also important to be mindful of the activities you choose during your downtime. While relaxation and breaks are essential, they should be activities that truly recharge you, not ones that drain you further. For example, watching hours of television or scrolling endlessly on your phone might seem relaxing, but it often leaves you feeling tired and mentally foggy. Instead, consider using your downtime for activities that enrich you: reading, exercising, spending time with loved ones, or even practicing mindfulness. These activities provide true rest and rejuvenation, allowing you to return to your work with renewed energy. Unproductive habits can sometimes become routines we don't even think about, they're automatic. That's why it's crucial to take a step back and identify these habits clearly. Set aside time each week to reflect on how you're spending your days. Are you dedicating enough time to your goals, or are you getting sidetracked by things that don't matter? Tracking your time can be an eye-opening experience, revealing where adjustments are needed. Once you're aware of where your time is going, you can consciously decide to spend it in ways that align with your purpose and priorities. Replacing unproductive habits with constructive ones takes discipline and self-awareness. It's not enough to simply eliminate the bad habits, you need to replace them with something better. For example, instead of reaching for your phone first thing in the morning, start your day with a productive ritual like journaling, setting daily goals, or meditating. Instead of spending an hour watching television after work, invest that time in a hobby that brings you joy or teaches you a new skill. These small changes can add up, gradually transforming your daily routine into one that supports your growth rather than hinders it. Stop seeking validation. Seeking validation is a natural human desire. We all want to feel accepted and understood. From an early age, we are conditioned to look for approval, whether from family, friends, teachers, or colleagues. However, when seeking validation becomes a habit, it can trap you in a cycle where your self-worth is tied to the opinions of others. Living this way is exhausting and unsustainable because it means constantly measuring yourself against external standards. You end up prioritizing what others think over what you know to be true about yourself, often at the cost of your own happiness and growth. To live fully and authentically, you have to break free from the need for constant approval and start validating yourself. When you rely on external validation, you're allowing others' opinions, values, and judgments to define your worth. If someone approves of you, you feel good. If they disapprove, you feel unworthy. This dependence on outside approval creates a roller coaster of emotions that are entirely out of your control. By letting others dictate your self-worth, you weaken your confidence and create self-doubt. The truth is, no one knows you better than you know yourself, and no one else can define your worth. When you shift from seeking validation to self-acceptance, you reclaim that power and start building a foundation of confidence that is stable and resilient. When your primary focus is on gaining approval, You may end up saying yes to things that don't align with your values or goals. You agree to plans you don't want to attend, take on responsibilities you don't have time for, and even compromise your beliefs just to avoid disapproval or conflict. This habit of people pleasing might seem harmless initially, but over time it erodes your sense of self. You begin to lose touch with what you genuinely want and need, as you're always putting others' preferences first. To stop people pleasing, you have to set boundaries and remind yourself that you can't please everyone, and that's okay. You're allowed to prioritize your own needs and desires. Seeking validation also makes you vulnerable to manipulation. When you rely on others for approval, some people might exploit that need. They may withhold approval or give you conditional praise, knowing that you'll go to great lengths to gain their acceptance. This dynamic can be particularly harmful in personal relationships or professional settings, where people may use your desire for approval to control your behavior or decisions. Manipulators thrive when they sense that someone needs external validation, so developing a strong sense of self-worth is essential to protect yourself. By validating yourself, you become less susceptible to others' attempts to control or influence you, empowering you to make decisions that truly align with your values. Living for external validation can also limit your creativity and potential. When you're always focused on what others think, you're less likely to take risks or pursue unconventional ideas. You start censoring yourself, choosing safer paths that you believe others will approve of, rather than pursuing what genuinely excites or challenges you. This leads to a stifling of creativity and ambition as you play small to fit within the boundaries set by others' expectations. However, some of the most successful people are those who were willing to go against the grain, who trusted their vision even when no one else did. To unlock your full potential, you need to stop looking for validation and start taking risks based on your own beliefs and passions. When you're focused on others' approval, it's easy to start comparing yourself to them. You begin to measure your success, appearance, and achievements against theirs, seeking clues on how to gain more approval. But comparison is a trap that only leads to insecurity and envy. There will always be someone who has more, looks better, or seems happier. When you're chasing validation, you lose sight of your unique strengths and path, and you fall into the trap of living someone else's life. Remember, your journey is yours alone. By embracing your individuality and focusing on your personal growth, you'll find greater satisfaction than any external approval can offer. Seeking validation often keeps you from practicing self-compassion. When you're constantly chasing others' approval, it becomes difficult to be kind to yourself, especially when you make mistakes or fall short of expectations. You end up being overly critical, blaming yourself for not being good enough in the eyes of others. Self-compassion, on the other hand, is about accepting yourself as you are with all your imperfections. It's about recognizing that you're human and that it's okay to make mistakes. Self-compassion builds resilience and helps you bounce back from setbacks, whereas relying on external validation only makes you feel worse when things don't go perfectly. When you're constantly seeking approval, you're likely to make choices based on what will be accepted by others rather than what feels right for you. This can lead to pursuing a career, lifestyle, or relationship that doesn't align with who you are at your core. By stepping away from the need for validation, you open the door to discovering your own values, passions, and aspirations. You begin to make decisions that resonate with your authentic self, rather than conforming to others' expectations. Finding your purpose requires introspection and honesty, and it's a journey that can only happen when you stop looking outward for approval and start looking inward. Learning to validate yourself takes practice and patience, but it's one of the most empowering changes you can make. When you find worth within yourself, you are no longer swayed by others' judgments or opinions. You can walk your path with confidence, make choices based on your values, and embrace your true self. This doesn't mean you'll never care about others' opinions, but you'll no longer need them to feel complete. The freedom that comes from self-validation allows you to live a life that's true to who you are, creating a foundation of inner strength that no one can shake. Stop fearing failure. Fear of failure is one of the most common obstacles holding people back from reaching their full potential. This fear comes from a place of self-doubt and anxiety, rooted in the worry that if you attempt something and don't succeed, it will somehow diminish your worth or prove your inadequacy. But failure is not a verdict on your abilities, it's a necessary part of growth. Every successful person has failed, often many times, on their way to achieving greatness. The difference is that they didn't let failure define them. They learned from it, adapted, and continued to push forward. If you let fear of failure dictate your choices, you miss countless opportunities to grow, learn, and ultimately succeed. Embracing failure as a part of the process is essential if you want to unlock your potential. One of the reasons people fear failure is the belief that it will confirm their deepest insecurities, that they aren't talented, smart, or capable enough. But this fear is often exaggerated and irrational. Failure doesn't define who you are, it only provides feedback on what didn't work. It's important to separate your sense of self-worth from your achievements or setbacks. Just because you don't succeed at something on the first try doesn't mean you lack value. Instead of interpreting failure as a reflection of your worth, view it as a stepping stone toward improvement. Each attempt, even if unsuccessful, teaches you something valuable that you can carry forward. Failure doesn't label you, it educates you. Fear of failure can also prevent you from taking risks, and without risk, there can be no reward. Often, the greatest achievements require stepping into the unknown, making bold moves, and pushing past your comfort zone. When you avoid risks, you limit your potential. The irony is that the more you try to avoid failure, the more you end up playing small and missing out on meaningful growth. Taking calculated risks is a part of pursuing any worthwhile goal. Sure, there's a chance you might stumble, but there's also a chance you'll soar. You can't reach your highest potential by staying in a place that feels safe. Success requires venturing into uncertainty, and the willingness to do so is what separates those who achieve their dreams from those who simply dream. Fear of failure is often fueled by a fear of judgment from others. We worry about what people will think if we don't succeed. This external pressure can make the fear of failure feel even more daunting. But the truth is, most people are more focused on their own lives than they are on yours. People will notice your failures far less than you think. And even if they do, their opinions don't determine your worth or future. The more you base your actions on others' perceptions, the more you give away your power. True freedom comes from accepting that you're going to make mistakes, and that those mistakes don't define you. By focusing on your own goals rather than external judgments, you become more resilient to setbacks and better equipped to pursue what matters to you right now. When you adopt a growth mindset, you see failure not as an endpoint but as an opportunity to learn and improve. Instead of interpreting setbacks as proof of your limitations, you view them as a part of the journey toward mastery. This shift in perspective can make all the difference. With a growth mindset, failure becomes a temporary state, something that can be changed with effort and persistence. People with this mindset are more likely to push through challenges, take on new tasks, and ultimately achieve higher levels of success because they aren't crippled by fear. They are motivated by the possibility of growth. Each failure provides you with information you didn't have before. When something doesn't go as planned, ask yourself why. What could you have done differently? What can you take from this experience that will help you succeed next time? This approach allows you to treat each setback as a lesson rather than a loss. Over time, as you accumulate knowledge and experience, you'll be better equipped to navigate challenges and make better decisions. Failure isn't a final outcome. It's a part of the learning curve that every successful person must go through. It's also important to recognize that the road to success is rarely a straight line. Setbacks, detours, and failures are inevitable parts of any journey worth taking. When you expect the road to be smooth, every obstacle feels like a reason to give up. But when you accept that difficulties are part of the process, you develop resilience. This resilience becomes a key factor in your ability to persist. People who achieve lasting success are those who understand that failure is part of the path and are willing to keep going despite it. They're not deterred by temporary losses because they see them as stepping stones rather than dead ends. If you're failing, it means you're trying, and trying means you're moving forward. Stagnation is far worse than failure because it means you're not learning or growing. Each failure signifies that you're pushing your boundaries, testing your limits, and expanding your abilities. Instead of fearing failure, celebrate it as evidence of your effort and ambition. Failure is a badge of honor that shows you're striving for something greater, something that requires courage and commitment. Each time you fail, you're one step closer to success, learning lessons that will ultimately make you stronger and more prepared. Stop holding on to the past. The past has a way of casting shadows over our lives, subtly or profoundly influencing how we see ourselves, make decisions, and relate to others. However, when you cling to past mistakes, regrets, or disappointments, it can prevent you from moving forward. Holding on to the past keeps you anchored to moments that can't be changed, and this backward focus hinders your ability to embrace new experiences or opportunities. To truly grow and live fully, you have to let go of the past, learn from it, and focus on what you can create in the present and future. Releasing the past doesn't mean ignoring it, it means accepting that it is over and shifting your energy to where you can make a difference. When you replay moments where you made poor choices or failed to meet your own standards, it can be easy to fall into a loop of self-blame and self-criticism. You might dwell on what you could have done differently, feeling as though if you just think about it enough, you can somehow rewrite history. But the truth is, no amount of rumination can change what has already happened. Instead of criticizing yourself for past mistakes, it's more helpful to view them as learning opportunities. Every mistake teaches you something valuable, whether it's about your strengths, weaknesses, or areas where you can improve. Acknowledging your past errors and choosing to grow from them is much more empowering than dwelling on them with regret. Heartbreak, betrayal, and disappointment can leave deep emotional scars, making it difficult to trust others or open yourself up again. But carrying this pain forward only prolongs your suffering. While it's natural to feel hurt after difficult experiences, it's essential to give yourself permission to heal and move on. Forgiving others, and sometimes even forgiving yourself, can be an act of liberation. Forgiveness doesn't mean excusing hurtful behavior or pretending it didn't happen. It means releasing the grip that resentment and bitterness have on you. By letting go, you free yourself from the weight of the past and create space for healthier, more fulfilling relationships in the future. The past can also be difficult to let go of because it forms part of your identity. You might hold on to achievements, relationships, or situations that once defined you, even if they're no longer relevant. For example, someone who was a high achiever in school may feel reluctant to let go of that identity, struggling to find a similar level of success in adult life. Others may cling to an idealized memory of a past relationship, comparing it unfavorably to present ones and failing to appreciate what's in front of them. Holding on to an outdated sense of self limits your ability to grow into who you are now. Embracing change and allowing yourself to evolve means recognizing that you are not the person you were in the past. And that's okay. You're constantly growing, and each stage of life brings new opportunities to redefine yourself. If you've experienced failure or rejection, you might fear that trying something new will only lead to the same outcome. This fear can keep you from taking risks, setting new goals, or pursuing dreams. However, letting fear dictate your choices robs you of the chance to succeed. While it's wise to learn from the past, it's also important to remember that each situation is unique. You have grown and changed, and just because something didn't work out before doesn't mean it won't work out now. By taking what you've learned and applying it to new situations, you can approach challenges with greater wisdom and resilience. Sometimes people hold on to the past because of nostalgia, a longing for a better time, or an idealized version of a past period. Nostalgia can provide comfort, but it can also distort your view of the present, making you believe that nothing will ever be as good as what you once had. This mindset prevents you from appreciating what's happening in your life now. The past may have had beautiful moments, but so does the present, if you're willing to see them. When you romanticize the past, you miss out on opportunities for joy, growth, and connection that are right in front of you. Embracing the present allows you to find happiness where you are, rather than in a place you can never return to. Letting go of the past requires self-compassion and acceptance. Often people resist letting go because they are harsh on themselves, believing that they should have done better or made different choices. But self-compassion involves treating yourself with the same kindness and understanding that you would offer a friend. Accepting that you did the best you could with the knowledge and resources you had at the time can help you forgive yourself. By acknowledging your humanity and imperfection, you create space for growth without being weighed down by regret. Learning to be gentle with yourself in the face of past mistakes can be transformative, allowing you to approach the future with a lighter heart and a more open mind. Every moment spent dwelling on what can't be changed is a moment taken from what you can create in the future. When you're consumed by regrets or old wounds, it's difficult to be fully present and engage with your current life. Releasing the past frees up mental and emotional energy that can be used to build the life you want. Instead of letting old memories dictate your decisions, you can start making choices based on your current values and aspirations. The energy you save by letting go can be redirected towards goals that matter to you now, enabling you to build a life that reflects who you truly are today. The journey of releasing the past is not always easy, but it's essential for personal growth and happiness. By letting go, you give yourself permission to live more fully in the present and to pursue a future unburdened by what came before. Each day offers a new opportunity to start fresh, to learn, to grow, and to embrace the person you're becoming. Holding on to the past only limits these possibilities, keeping you tethered to a version of yourself that no longer exists. By releasing it, you set yourself free to live more intentionally, authentically, and joyfully.